Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to talk about the 2 to 4 player game Epic Resort by Floodgate Games. So let's go ahead down to the table and I'll go ahead and give you a general overview of how this game plays and the different things in it. And then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is going to be a look at the general setup of a game of Epic Resort. Now, we're not going to go over the rules, all of them at least. We're just going to give you an overview of how the game plays so you get an idea. And this is just basically going to be the player board setup for a 4-player game. And this over here is an example of one of the players. In a game of Epic Resort, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get as many of these gems as possible. So you get gems a couple different ways. You get gems from the remaining attractions that you have. So like right here, there's 2 gems here. You also get 1 gem per hero that is near a attraction at the end of the game. And also you get a gem you get a different amount of gems for each hero that has completely rested throughout the game. We'll get over what that means in a second, but in general, on your turn, what you're going to do is everyone's going to simultaneously draw 5 workers from this deck, starting deck. And in the starting deck, you're going to have 7 apprentices. You'll have 3 street performers, and you won't have a journeyman. You'll have 3 lazy peons. So you have 13 cards in your deck. And what's going to happen throughout the game is you're going to upgrade these workers. However, when you upgrade the workers, you actually lose this worker. So what's cool about this game is at the end of the game, you're actually going to end up with probably 10 cards. And the reason for that is one of these cards you can draw here, you can discard and remove from the game to stop a monster attack. So there's 3 of these guys leaving 10 cards left, and I'll explain what that means in a second. But you'll draw your 5 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what's going to happen is I'm going to take a look at these cards. And the first portion is going to be get to work. And what we're going to do with that is, if you notice on these player boards, there's these little symbols down here. And this is how many workers are required to keep this running. If I don't supply enough workers, I have to actually lose these visitors at the location. And what the visitors do is whatever they cover up, so let's say they cover up this one and this one, this is what I get. So what I would get currently is going to be 1 fame and 3 gold. If I lose a worker, I'll get 2 fame and 2 gold. And if I lose all my workers, I only get 3 fame and 0 gold. Now you'll notice that this last spot can't be covered. So at this location, I can only have as much as 3 visitors. So each player is going to pick how they're going to man their station. So let's say the beach requires 1 worker and the tiki hut requires 2. And in my hand, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just use these 3 cards because they have the little symbol on the top. So that's 3 workers. So I'll say, okay, I use 3 workers. So all my attractions are manned. Then that leaves 2 cards in my hand. All right, so at the end of this portion, after we pay for the locations or the attractions, then we collect our income. So at the Tiki Hut, I would track on this board, here's fame and this is gold. I would get 1 fame from that one and 3 gold. And from the beach, I would get 1 fame and 2 gold. Okay? So that's going to be my income for the next round. Or not for the next round, for the next phase. So in the next phase, each player is going to take actions in turn order, starting with whoever is the harbor master. And the cool thing about the harbor master is the first person in the pass picks who the harbor master is going to be. If it's the same person, you keep putting gold on here, which is going to be designated by these icons, or these little tokens. So the first person to be the harbor master that wasn't previously harbor master will actually get all those. So a little incentive to do it. In this phase, starting with the Harbor Master, each player can take one main action, and you could take free actions too. I'll explain what that is. So your main actions you can do during this thing is you can upgrade an attraction, train a skilled worker, or pass. Your free actions are going to be discard a worker for its abilities, attraction abilities, or sending a worker to attractions. So what that means for your free actions, what they mean by discard is some of these, like this guy right here has, I discard, I can get rid of attack. I have a better one though. That is Street Performer. Okay, so if I have a Street Performer here, I can discard to gain 1 fame. So that'll become relevant here in a second with some of the main actions. So if I want to upgrade my resort and get a new area, like let's say this Dragon Flame Tub, which can house up to 4 visitors and can net me 4 gold each round if I fill it up, which is nice. I have to pay this gold cost down on the bottom right. So obviously I only have 5 gold, so I can actually do it. So I could just purchase this and put this guy in my area. And what the cool thing is that this one actually has an ability that when I place 2 workers, I can gain a visitor to this attraction. So if I place at least 2 workers on here, I can gain a visitor to this attraction, which is cool. The other thing I can do as a main action on my turn is I can take one of these cards, like either the Street Performer or the Apprentice. And when I do, I can hire a skilled worker to your hand. Then I remove this worker and I put a lock on it. And simply what the locks mean, they're nothing horrible, but what that means is during a whole round, each player can only hire one type of worker. So if I hired, let's say I took the maitre d', I would put a lock on that. And that means for this round, no one else can get the maitre d'. And what I would have to do to get the maitre d' is I have to actually pay this gold cost right here to get them. And then I would, of course, discard that card I had, and now I have the maitre d'. And this one here is pretty neat too, because if I have a location that has food or has the fancy icon on it, he can count as additional workers for that. So it's pretty cool. So that's how you gain your people. The other thing you can do is go to the docks. And when you go to the docks, what you're going to do is, let's say I would look at this, and then I'd have to play the fame cost. And here's 5. So you'll notice, like, if I have less visitors at the locations, I'll actually have more fame. So I can actually get more people. So if I did this one, I pay 5 fame, and I get 3 visitors. And I put the lock thing, because I'm the only one person can use these areas per round, and at the end of the round, one of them gets knocked off and a new one gets put in. Then I would place them on here, and I could place one here and one there, and I'd actually lose it. So I have to place all if I can, and I can't. The other thing I can do is get a hero. And heroes are cool. The fame cost for them is up here. So everything at the dock costs fame costs. And you put them on top of attractions. So let's say I put them right here. And if a monster attacks, which I'll explain how that happens, then he can help defend the location from being damaged. If no one's there, just a cool note is, if no one's there, you'll actually put one of these damage tokens at the location. And each location has a different number of damage you can take. And once this is met, this location is actually destroyed, which can be very bad for that player. So you don't want that to happen in general. But the other thing you have to look out for is you may not actually want the hero to defend your location. I might consider that then, depending on the gem cost of the location, because this guy's pretty low too. So if I have a high gem value location, I might throw him out there. He's pretty cool with his 5 shield. And the reason why you may not want to have them defend or have them move away when an attack occurs is because once these hearts fill up, so the subtracted damage because it can lower it a little bit too, this guy becomes rested because the whole point of the game is you're a epic resort for heroes. So you're trying to get these heroes to have a vacation, relax, and the more of these guys that you successfully get to relax and have a good time, the more gem points you'll get at the end of the game. So as soon as it's filled at the end of the round, and if it's still filled, you can then place him in a pile off to the side, and these are points at the end of the game, which is cool. So basically what will happen is when we refill, after everyone's taken their actions, if a monster attack occurs, like I flip one of these cards, everything's going to stop for a second. We're going to go ahead, and this is going to tell me how the attraction is targeted for that player. So it's important for that player. So what's going to happen is I'm going to flip over one of these monsters. And the game will end actually when all these monsters are gone. So this is how you can trigger the end game. Some heroes give abilities that discard extra monsters on here, which is cool. Once these monsters flip, they're discarded. So this will be the monster we flip for now. And what will happen is it'll attack the resort with the most money, income. Now, in case of a tie, the person that is the Harbor Master or the closest person to the Harbor Master gets attacked. And this one here, the defending attraction, if it's not already, you get flames on it if it's not already damaged. So even if this die doesn't get through, you're going to have some damage, which is pretty bad. And he only has 2 fighting, so he's pretty easy to thwart off. But you get some bigger ones at the end. That's I don't think that. Yeah, it was level 3. Okay. Let's see. Like this 7. Piot Fleet attacks. Attacks the resort with the same with the most money, but he has 7 power, which is pretty nasty. So that's the thing you have to look out for the game. So other than the deck building portion and the building up of your resorts and managing the people come in and trying to get these heroes that are nice to rest, you have to watch out for these sort of like random events that occur that can hurt your resort. So basically that is the gist of how to play Epic Resort. We're going to go ahead and back up and I'll give you my final thoughts. So yeah, Epic Resort is a really good game. I like it a lot. I love deck builders, and I love the fact in this game that you don't fill your deck up with junk. So you're basically going to you start with 13 cards. Your peons are probably going to be eaten by monsters, so they'll be gone. So in the game, you're going to have 10 cards and you draw 5. So if you purchase new, upgrade your apprentices and street performers to more powerful cards, you're going to see them, if not the next turn. So I do like that a lot. I like the building of my resort and stuff, and I like working with the different heroes and trying to get them to rest and get the gems that way. The monster attacks can be a little frustrating, but once you get a couple gameplays down, you get the general idea what's going to happen, so you can work around them, and it adds an extra element to the game. So for a deck building game, I'd really recommend Epic Resort. I think it's really cool. I like the theme to it, and the gameplay is really good. So that's my thoughts on Epic Resort, and thank you for watching.